My name is Mahad Ahmed, and I would like to, firstly thank the PI team and Chairman Zed Zaman for putting this together and also giving me the opportunity to introduce and welcome our incredible speaker for this morning, Miss Diane Lee. I've only got a minute or two to, introduce her, and she's got a long CV, so I'm going to condense it and make it short. Diane Lee is one of the duo that make up the MOCO, which basically stands for Moments of Cherished Occasions. She is a photographer with 10 years experience, specializing in portraits and weddings. She studied journalism in Tunku Abdurrahman University College and fell in love with photojournalism in one of her classes and never looked back to writing since. She has photographed countless families, weddings, and individuals, including a short stint working in a photography studio in Auckland, New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and help me welcoming Diane Lee. Over to you, Diane.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's like my first time attending a Rotary meeting. Last time, like in school, I joined like Interact Club for a short while only, and I'm like, I dropped out. But here I am. So good to see all of you. Well, today is really a time where I just get to just a sec. Okay, I just wanted to like introduce you to the things that we are doing. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly share my screen. I can share screen. Perfect. Okay. All right. Oops. Is this what you're looking at? Oh no, it's not. Just a sec. Just a second, everyone. All right. Am I correct? Are you looking at? You're looking at this screen that says who's using Chrome, right?
No, it says you are you're sharing your screen, but it's actually blank. I mean, we can't see nothing.
Okay, you know what? Let me try again. Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Okay,
No,
let me just turn off this one. I'll try that again. All right.
Okay.
Okay, you hear another conversation going on, but that's because there's another call that's going on right now. You guys can see this one right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go full screen now. Oops.
Okay.
Oh, what just happened here? I'm gonna go full screen. Just a second. Okay, you should see it now. This is correct, right?
Yes, Diane.
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, my name is Diane, and today we're just gonna do a little show and tell about how do you use your phones or whatever you have. It can be like your cameras. I'm sure some of you have really good cameras. So today is just a session to inspire you to get photos that are like storytelling. Okay, so it's a show and tell your Rotary stories in a better way, right? So there was already a little introduction of me, but here I just now Mahat mentioned that I am part of the duo, right? So the duo is that I'm me on the left here, and there is another person named Cheryl. Both of us are partners, and we're actually best friends. So we actually started MOCO about a few years ago, but the brand has been around for 10 years, and we specialize in pre-weddings, weddings, families. But I personally have photographed for 10 years. So earlier I was working for somebody else, and MOCO is now my own. So what is MOCO, right? MOCO actually just means Moments of Cherished Occasions. We photograph moments that are not necessarily just happy moments, but recently I photographed recently photographed like funerals. So that's like, it's something that people still can remember, right? All right. I'll just quickly show you some of my work. These are some portraits that were done at home. Some of these portraits doesn't have to be like all posy, and it can just be all done at home kind of photos. So these are just some of my work, just to show you what I do. So we shoot weddings. So it's not just Chinese weddings, or like if we just shoot any kinds of weddings at this point, because after all, everybody wants good photos. So we have these ones that I photograph, and it's often that we have like church weddings, Muslim weddings, Indian weddings, and usually we will go for moments like that, right? And of course, we do pre-wedding photos. These are posed. So even if we pose them, we kind of just put them in a position where they could like, be very comfortable with each other. All right. So I also do corporate portraits. So these were all done in my studio, and basically they just come to my studio, they get comfortable, I pose them, and that's how we get all these photos done. But these are posed, right? Okay. All right. Now, if you ask me, Diane, my smartphone can do a job or not? I say yes. Smartphone can, meh? The answer is can. Okay. I want to start off with this, is that your phones are actually some of the best tools that can do now. You know, like how people who think that, no, in order for me to get good photos, I must get like a photographer, or I must buy this latest camera with like latest lens. Okay, I want you to put that aside, and I want you to believe that your phones can do a very good job also. Why? It's a bit like how when a person wants to exercise and get fit, they will start to have a lot of excuses. Then they'll go like, oh wait, I need to get the gym membership. I need to go and buy free weights. I need to buy this. I need to like stop eating this in order for me to like be good at it. And I'm like, no, I have to say that you just have to start somewhere, and you start with your phone if you don't have a camera. Okay. So what I'm going to show you today is basically just the tools for you to get good photos. It's like tangible, it's like tools that's like more like skills, not so much like physical tools. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly show you. All right. First things first. If you have any questions, right, like you guys can just type in the chat. Then maybe Mahat, maybe you might need to tell me if there were questions. Okay.
Diane, is the background noise, is it coming from your side?
There is, because there's
Oh.
another phone call somewhere. Actually, there's another phone call
Okay.
that's going on with another person. So is it? But can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear the other person well as well.
Oh dear me, just a second. Let me turn that down as well, or I can move somewhere else. Just a second. Just a second, guys. My apologies. Let me.
Oh, no problem. Okay.
Better now? Not so loud, right? Okay, I'll try my very best. Okay. All right. So there is. Okay. All right. Is it better?
Okay, but we can still hear. It's okay. Just go ahead.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Okay, I just moved away from the area that is a bit loud. Okay, here we go. First things first, guys. I want you to know before we embark on this journey of photographing things, right? The one of the first things that you need to know is you must know what is the purpose of these photos. Now it's very easy to go like, hey, no, I want to take photos so that I want to win. Like, come on, I want to win, right? That's like my purpose. But no, I want to encourage you to just consider going beyond what you think is the winning photo, because what is winning is not because it's a good photo, but what makes a good photo, right, is the purpose of the photo. Like, what do you want to show? It's so important to ask, because say maybe if you want to show something that is very emotional, did you capture emotions in it, right? So it's a good time to ask yourself, what's the purpose of the photo, right? Have a think. The second one is the feel. Now, the feel of the photo is also very important, because how you want people to feel from your photo is highly dependent on how you take it. Now, potentially this is something that you need to think about as well. If your purpose is to make people feel very sad or moved, then you have to shoot it that way as well. If your purpose is to make people feel really happy, then you really have to photograph happy faces. That's how it's done. But it's good to just visualize before you start. And the other thing, the third one, is that you need to research, right? Now, sometimes, I know Rotarians, you guys have a lot of projects that you do like to help the society and stuff, right? Now, if you are thinking of, say, maybe you need to go somewhere very poor, for example, I'm not really sure, I'm just giving an example. Potentially, if you need to go into Orang Asli villages, and then you go, hey, how do I photograph these Orang Asli people? Potentially, a research is going to be helpful. For example, if you go to Google and type like Orang Asli people, then you see like some potentially very posed photos. You look at it, but be inspired, but move on. But it's best to consider the kind of photos that has more intrinsic value, right? It's good to just search and find out what's out there and whether it has been done or not. Okay, right? Now, the next thing also is you need to know your gear. Now, when I say gear, it just means that maybe your camera or your phone, because it doesn't matter what you use. It matters whether you know how to use it, very honestly. Now, I can be given a very expensive camera, and if I do not know how to use it, I will not get good photos out of it. That's the rule. The rule is that the thing is, if you have like even your handphone, if you are so familiar with your phone and you're so familiar with how the camera reacts at a certain time and a certain lighting, that's actually part of knowing your gears. Now, I don't want to go too much into this. Like, if you want to ask me, oh, Diane, like my camera is like, I can tell you my phone is like the iPhone, the latest 13 Pro Max, for example. And tell me, oh, what can I do with it? I cannot go into that because everybody has got different devices. If some of you come to me and say, hey, yeah, I have this, I have that, then I'm like, I don't know how to dwell right into it. But it's important that you must know. Okay. Then the next one is that you got to know the functions that you have on your phones or your cameras. Okay, so now some cameras are very good in low light. Now I'm talking about physical cameras lah, yeah. Now some cameras are really good low light. Some phone cameras are very good with portrait mode. Some has even wide angle. Some has telephoto, some has standard lenses. So it's like, how do you know these things? And you have to know the modes that fit the right time that you are photographing, okay? And the last one is you need practice. So I want all of you to know that today you are here, you're here to learn. In these 2 hours, I will just try to cram whatever I know and I learned in 10 years in 2 hours. Is frankly not the most possible thing to do. But what you can do is, from whatever I just taught you, all you need to do is practice. Try it with your family because they don't care whether you're taking photos or not, right? At least that's for my family. I'm not really sure about your family, right? But for my family, because they always see me around with a camera so much, they're like, they stopped posing for me already. So practice, take the opportunity to do so. That is your chance to be a fly on the wall, be a fly on the wall, right? So these are just a few first things that I want to put it out there before we go straight into the meaty things. Okay, anybody has questions for now? I can move on, right?
Not yet. Then move. Yeah, can.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you. So we're just gonna. I hope this is clear lah for everyone. Yeah. Now, here we go. We are now gonna go into the basics of photography. I am teaching you not just based on the fact that you use. It's not based on whether you use your camera or not, your phones, but it's also It's also applicable for your phones, for cameras. Okay, so here we go. The first one, the very important one, no matter how lousy your camera is, if you nail this, your photo will be at least better 50%. Okay, it's called composition. Now, what's composition, right? Composition is how, you know, when we take photos, it's only you only fit within this rectangular, right? Right now, what you're looking at right now on the screen with me is you see a little rectangular. So what I fill into this rectangular is part of composition, right? There are many rules to composition, but today I'm only going to touch three, just three, because there's so much out there and there's no right or wrong. Even if I tell you some of these is like, they are called like rule of thirds, lines, and negative space. They are called these things, but honestly, now you learn the rules and then later you break it. So it's like, as long as you know, then I don't encourage people to just stick to it, but learn it and break it. Okay, I'll move on now. Now, what on earth is rule of thirds? What on earth is this, right? Okay, rule of thirds basically just means that if you look at everything, you look at a photo, right? You imagine them in three parts, just like the grid here. You've got three parts that's vertical, three parts horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, science have kind of like I think from observation and also potentially science or research have found that if you photograph something that has the subject within this point here, these points is where your subject will stand out. All right. Now, these again is just a guide. Even though it's called a rule, it's not a dead, you cannot take it like gospel kind of rule, okay? But it is a good guide for beginners. If you are not sure how to take photos, this is a good guide. So the points here, 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 and here. Now, usually rule of thirds also acts as a guide for straight photos. So now if you are photographing horizons, you're gonna need to make sure that they stay in a straight line. So this is a very good guide. Oh, and by the way, your phones have this function. You can actually turn on the grid function, and then when you take photos, this lines will show on your screen. I'm not sure what phones you use, but you could just find out. Every phone has it. Okay, rule of thirds. Now let me show you an example of how it works. Let's see. Now this is a handphone photo. Okay, I took this shot when I was in like Perak, and this photo is basically framed using the rule of third. How? Now, if you look at it, the subject is actually the boat here. Where is the boat? It's on the right. It's not in the middle. And I'm going to show you the grid right now. That's where you can see it. Okay, the points here, 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 and here are where all the points where your eyes will immediately look at. And I already put my subject of the boat right here. And then I've got the little person that's walking here. And then I bet your eyes have also picked up, hey, there's actually a person here too. So here, this photo actually show you a little bit more about what's going on right there, just by using rule of third, right? I'm gonna move on. The next one, here we go. This is a photo I took from an event in 2019. Okay, because I haven't been to an event anytime like in 2000s. So this is taken in 2019. And this event was the United Nations anniversary event. Now, how was rule of thirds used here? The rule of thirds was used for me to help me compose this photo. If you look at it now, although this is not the most accurate, but you see the point. The point is that the photo is straight. You see that? Now, the rule of third helps me to align my photo in terms of like whether it is straight or not, because believe it or not, our eyes like to see things that are like not saying it on. So can you imagine if you go to an art gallery and then if you look at a photo and the photo happens to be slightly tilted, you probably, you have something innate in you to want to go and adjust the frame, isn't it? So it's the same with us in photos. So you have this, if you have a grid like this, it helps you to also separate. So you see how the photos is separate into three parts horizontally. first part here is the people. The second part here in the middle, that's where the subjects are. And the third part is the top here that you can see is the 74th anniversary of the United Nations. I use this to separate into 3 parts to know that I'm taking a good photo. All right. I have here also, it was an event, a evening event, and I put the subject right here. Yobin was just talking. I don't have to follow directly exactly on the dot, but if I put my subject on this frame here, it already looked better. Now, here's the thing. I know this is overlapping lah, but over here on the left is also the banner. Although it's blur, but I left it there. It's because if I have just photographed here and don't include this, it might be very empty. But the moment you include this, then suddenly the photo has balance. It doesn't feel tilted, right? It doesn't feel very heavy on one side. So that's how, so one rule doesn't just apply in one photo. Even one rule, there's many rules that can apply in one single photo, okay? All right, now the next one is balance. What on earth is balance, right? Now, as I mentioned before just now, balance is when you, is the weightage of the photo. In terms of photos, I know there is a weight to photos here, like what is weight, right? Now, have you seen photos that are very lopsided, whereby maybe in a group photo, you find that, oh, there are more people on the left and then that's very empty on the right, and it feels very lopsided. That's exactly what balance is. And balance is also something along, okay, balance is also something about how you manage your space in the photo. For example, humans like to see things that are very, like I said, I said that before, right? Like people like to see things that are very, it has a symmetrical lining. This photo happens to look quite symmetrical, even though it's not fully, because after all, this is an item that's not nature. Okay, this is a man-made item, but still it is of a natural. So here we are, we have this which are balanced. The left doesn't feel as heavy as the right, or it's the same pattern, overall same pattern. And that gives a feeling of balance. Here's another photo of ballerinas. They are just doing their little stretches. But what I did was I shot with a wide angle where I include all 3 of them here. But you see how balanced it feels is that it's first of all not lopsided. That means it's not tilted in one way. And also the patterns are the same. You see they have their legs open, so you know there's lines that goes this way, and this way. To your eyes, it's comfortable because it has balance, right? And the next one here is actually my friend Cammie's birthday today. And I photographed her playing the piano. Now, what I did was I was looking for reflection. And this is her reflection on the right-hand side. Her hands had reflection over the keys. And with that, it created a little mirror image. And mirror image is creating some sort of symmetrical balance. This is a very interesting perspective. So if sometimes when you can achieve this, it makes your eyes look a little bit longer and you're like, contemplate. So that's balance, right? Okay, the next one is lines. Now, I know you look at it, you're like, we got lines. God, let me show you. Now, what we call lines is basically everything that we put into our composition has lines. And here we are looking at several lines here that will direct our eyes immediately onto the subject, right? The lines are here. Let me show you. There's one line right here. See, it's straight. And these 2 lines, especially these 2 lines, guides our eyes to look at the subject. Right? That's how lines work. Now, lines can be man-made, can be construction, can be like man-made lines, or it actually can be natural lines, which is like from nature. This is okay lah. This is like the road lah, but it is in that sense something that is I didn't put the lines there. It takes your eyes to see it, right? I have more lines here. Can you see it? So this is these are all handphone photos, okay? So these are all handphone photos, and this was in Toran, Sabah. And this shot has lines over and this way. But you see, immediately when you look at the photo, you look at what's in the middle, because the lines here have led you to look at the subject that's in the middle. And that's me right there in the supermarket, too happy being in the supermarket. But you see, even this photo has lines. Just gonna show you quickly where the lines are. See how the lines are leading towards the subject. And our eyes like to be led. Our eyes like to be shown, where should I look? I'm looking at this. So that's how leading lines work. All right. The next one I'm going to talk about is negative space. What's negative space? Now, negative space is where photos where they have space that has nothing. Okay. Space that has nothing. Literally, there's kosongan. And why I shot like this is because I have intentionally kept it there. Now, I know you guys are going to make a poster, is that right? So when you make posters, I'm sure you need space. So negative space is going to be something that's very useful for you. Intentionally keep some empty space here. So if you can see what's on the left here is actually a photo of, I thought these trees are very interesting because they're all dead. There's no leaves on it. And then if I shoot it from bottom up, I will see all of this up here that's empty. That's kosong. So it's like, so if I want to put it on Instagram and I want to write something up here, I can do that. That's what negative space are good for. You know, on the right hand side, negative space can be a space where literally the patterns are somewhat similar. In this case, it's actually, this was also a handphone photo, by the way. So this photo is taken over the beach, and this is a silhouette photo where the lighting is from the back. But all I did was that I framed this couple here with everything else that's up here. The pattern has a disruption, so you look at it, like, hey, there's a couple down here. That's a good use of negative space, right? Now, there's another negative space photo that I want to show you was here. Now, if you notice up here, I intentionally kept empty. Why? Because the moment you kept up here empty, that's where your eyes will look down at the bottom and see what's happening at the bottom, right? Now, this photo was also shot from the angle that's bottom up. So that's how you look at, wow, they are like launching towards you. And that negative space has that effect, right? Okay, negative space in this sense for portraits also work where really there's no need to fill up the space all the time. As what I've also mentioned just now, that if you apply rule of thirds, he will look directly, he will be on the spots of the cross at the rule of third, and there's negative space right here. So if you want to put in like a design or whatsoever, right, your design could still fit right here. That's why negative space just directs your eyes to look at subject, right? Oh, wow. Okay, here we are. We're in lighting. I am going to do a little something which I'm actually going to turn off. No, I'm actually going to close my blinds. So just a second. Just a second, yeah? Okay. All right. Okay, everybody is still doing okay, right? Everybody's still doing fine, right?
Doing okay, Diane.
Can understand what I'm talking about, right? Not okay. I'm not like speaking a different language. Okay. So as you can see, my blinds are coming down right now because I wanted to simulate a bit of a condition, a situation for all of you to see. Okay. Now, lighting is actually can be a subject on its own because lighting is quite, yeah, lighting has a lot to cover. So I'll try my best. All right. But today I just want to know, like when you guys have your events, are they usually indoors or outdoors?
A bit of mix, Diane, but mostly outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And,
mostly outdoors.
Mostly outdoors, yeah, because we serve the community and usually it's outdoors, unless it's an event that is held indoors.
Okay. So, all right. So I can imagine even if it's outdoor, it would be during the day, right? Not night, isn't it? Do you have night or day? Do you like, are your events during the day?
Yeah, mostly in the days.
Okay, perfect. So like there is a little rule that we use unless, at least for me lah, unless there is light that I can control, I will always go back to natural light. But even natural light has its own drawbacks because you cannot control the sun, right? But I'm going to give you a quick pointer how to look at light, okay? So in terms of lighting, the important thing to look at is direction of light and the quality of light. Okay, let me just try this now. This is obviously from a wedding, and of course this shot is posed. Okay, we basically just put a couple next to a window. Why? Because window light has one direction, and windows are natural light. Natural light gives you a nice soft tone. So this is like what's on the left. What's on the left is like how the photo is set up, and what's on the right is what comes out from our camera. Okay, so which is why I say in that sense, I encourage all of you to look into getting natural light photos, but know where the light direction comes from. If you look at this photo on the right hand side, you can see where the direction of light is coming from. It's coming from the left. Is there anything from the right? There's nothing from the right. Okay, so lighting like this is like how when you go to a photo studio and the photographer just puts a one light setup and they give you this kind of look. Except I don't need to buy lights because God gave me light, the sun, right? We're just stimulating the same effect here. Okay. I know there are days where you may not have control of light, but you may have put your subject right behind a light source, and that results in silhouette photos such as this. Now, silhouette photos are not necessarily bad. And it depends on your purpose of the photo. For example, if the purpose of your photo is to see the face of the couple, then silhouette photos are actually a fail. You cannot do that with silhouette because silhouette, you can't see faces anymore. Now, in this case, this is the stained glass that's very pretty. Then we wanted to include the stained glass. So what we do was we make the stained glass prominent, but we put a couple right in front of here. Now, if you notice, I'm talking about balance again. Why? This was actually a reflection. How did I get a reflection like this? Is because we put a mirror right in front of here, something that's reflective, and that gives you like a double vision that makes it look interesting. So you see how rules that I've just taught you just now earlier is also applied in other segments. So that's why you learn one, but doesn't mean that you only apply one. You kind of need to apply a few in one photo. Okay. So this is just an example. Now, light can be quite interesting because when there is light, there will also be shadow. This here on the left is Adi, and when he came over to my studio, the sun was shining right in, and I'm like, yeah, like it's actually quite scorching hot, right? The sun's shining right in the evening. It's very hot. So what do? I'm gonna have to like, okay, well, oh, I see this little pattern on the wall that was quite interesting. So I'll just put Adi right here, and I photograph that with the pattern on the wall. That creates an interesting leading line. If you notice, you see how the leading line is also leading towards Adi. So your eyes are also drawn immediately down to Adi, right? Shadows has that look. And you see on the left, on the right is actually a product photo I did for the candles. But what I did was I saw there was a pattern in my curtain and the sun was shining right in. What I do, I put the curtain over and it has cast this shadow over. It becomes a pattern over the paper. The paper has nothing on it, you know, but these are actually shadows. So some of these things can be for you, can be against you. So harsh lighting is not necessarily bad. Okay. Now, before I move on to lighting, I want to say this is before I move on to angles, I just want to say this. I'm going to stop sharing just for a short while so that everybody will look at me. Okay, now, I hope you'll put me on speaker mode so that you can see. Now I have here a little light source. Okay, I have here a little light source. This is what we call video light. I'm going to simulate how light will look like on a person, so that when you, in the future, when you photograph, say, your Rotarians doing something, always be aware of the light, where the light is coming from. So say, for example, if you guys are in an indoor situation, usually indoor lighting comes from the top. Now, what do you see? If I put light directly on top of me, what do you see? Do you see how shadow is forming right underneath my eyes?
Yes.
Right? This is actually not good lighting at all. That's why I asked, when you have your events, where do you have your events? Do you have them indoors or outdoors? Now, this light is exactly how it will look like if the sun is directly on top of you. At 12 o'clock noon, if the sun's directly on top of you, and you've got, if your eye sockets are deeper, you won't be able to see your eyes at all, man. It's not good. It's not flattering at all. So what do you do in a situation like this? You go into a shade. The moment you go into a shade, then you eliminate that already. Okay? Now, for example, if I have light that is just right here, now this light is very harsh. If I put the light directly below me, what do I get?
Halloween.
Halloween, exactly. So this is not the light we're going for as well. So a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I don't know where to put the light. I put like, do you know those halogen lights when you go for events and then they put it at the bottom and then you stand right underneath and you take photo, you get this kind. You look very scary. So no, this is not good lighting unless you want to spook somebody, right? Okay, now let me put that away. Now, usually, when we take photos as photographers, what we usually go for is 45. A 45 angle is you put a light right here, and I'm going to reduce this just a little bit. I don't need it so bright, okay? Now, if I put it on a 45 right up lah, okay? This here is a 45. This is 90. I'm looking at you and this is 90 degrees. And I'm putting the light on the 45 from your 90. I get something that's a bit more comfortable, right? So if I turn my face towards the light right here, I already look better. That's how Instagram is done. Like, seriously, this is how the Instagram models in our social media era, they use light like this. Sometimes they just use their phones. That is softer. This is very harsh, you see, because this is very bright. Okay, but if you don't have it so harsh, you put it right above you and then you look up. I already immediately look better because you know why? The shadow is covering my neck, and then I already look slimmer. That's how it's done. So lighting is crazy because lighting on its own is a different field altogether. There's so much to learn about lighting. But rule of thumb is, if you are outside and you are shooting, like say in like 12 o'clock, you have an event, say like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, it's very hot, but the sun is directly up here. If you can, and if you have control, try to move everything indoors or under a shade. It doesn't have to be, if you put a canopy and then you put people under the canopy, provided the canopy is not red lah, okay? If you put under people a canopy or a shade, already the photo will look better, okay? Because this is too harsh. If people with dark sockets, it's gonna look very bad. This looks like somebody's interrogating me. Did you kill him? You know? So this is not good. If you have lights from the side, directly on the side, it could be okay, except you just have to turn your subject towards the light and you shoot this way. You see, if I were to have my light right here, you see how the shadow is falling here? The shadow is very harsh here. It's not good. So what you do is turn your face towards the light, and this in itself already looks better, right? So I already look better when I do this. I hope this is something, because if, for example, if my light is right here and I put it directly in front of me, okay lah, this looks like the ring light. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Just that, you know, you get all this, you get like reflection lah, you get like my face, you can see my face is very oily, you know. So that's why different direction of light gives you different effect. And I want all of you, I would like all of you to go practice this or learn how to see it. Okay. One of the things I learned about light, right, is I would walk around sometimes, say I would go to a client's place or wherever, their houses. So you know what I will do? I will look at my palm and I will put my palm, imagine my subject is there. For example, right now I'm sitting on my sofa, and here I am. If I look at my palm right here, I see there's no light. I see like the light is facing a backlight and it looks very dark. So I'm gonna move my hand and move it to see which way looks better. It's again a bit hard to show on Zoom, but that's how I will walk around and I put my hand like that. It looks quite awkward. People are like wondering what am I doing. So I will look at my hand and like move around. This is just a practice. Now, I want to say this also is that in weddings, how I go about making lighting work for my advantage is that I will actually tell people to, hey, this place is better for lighting. Can we just do the thing that you want to do here? Not posing, is placing your subject. That's all. Can I suggest that? I suggest that if you are the one who's taking photo, or if you have if you are in charge of taking photos, potentially you can make the call to say, hey, the lighting here is better. Can we just do it here? If it's not too much hassle lah, if it's like a small thing, do that. Take control, because even sometimes in weddings we do that. You know, in weddings, maybe it's easier to do that in weddings because people pay us. So if we say that, hey, this one doesn't look good, then if we tell the couple will try to make it look good because they paid for the photos, they want it to look good. So I want to, maybe this is something you can think about. If you have to place somebody there just to get good light, try it. If you have control, if you've got no control, it's fine. Then make do. Okay. All right. I guess that would be all for lighting, and I'm just going to continue sharing my screen now. Anybody has questions so far? Before I
we only received one question, but it's more on legal and technical. So you want to take it now or later? Legal and technical. No, legal. One Muhammad Ibrahim was asking if we took photos with some individuals and then posted in one of our Rotary social media platforms, are we liable to any legal complications from the public? That's what he was asking. Oh, yes. That one, I think you guys can answer. Yeah, I think we have a lot of senior Rotarians, past governors. Maybe we can take it up later and discuss. Yeah. And then I've got a question that just came in from Jennifer Lim. Yes. She's asking, how do I use the features of ISO 1/30 MF and WB under the Pro camera model? Okay. All right, Jennifer, this is very technical. I assume you are using Pro camera mode. That means you potentially have a Samsung phone? Yes. Yeah, you got a Samsung? Okay. Yeah. Now, when you have ISO at 1/30, that means your shutter is flickering at 1/30th seconds. Now, what does that mean? It means that when you take a photo, your shutter is going down slightly faster than 1 second, but it's not very fast to capture. MF just means manual focus. That means you need to tap in order for you to pick the focus. WB is white balance. That means whether you want your photos to be cooler, means it looks a bit more blue, or you want it to look a bit more warm. That's where you control your white balance. Frankly, your ISO is
is the same as when when there was film, right? It's called ASA, which means that if your ISO number is very high, means you have very dark, means you take photos and your film sensitivity will pick up more light. That's the higher your photo, the higher the number, the more you absorb light. Now, this is very technical. I could go into it, but this is something you need to practice actually. So I'm not going into it this round because we're talking about storytelling. But Jennifer Lim, if you want to talk to me and you want to find out how, take down my number later, okay?
Right.
I don't mind chatting with you about this, okay? Is RAW format useful for mobile phone? Yes. If you have a mobile phone that could do RAW, use it. You know why? If you could shoot RAW, and if you can bring it to edit, you have more opportunity. You can edit better. All right. How to avoid reflection if one is wearing glasses? Haha. Okay. Just now I show you this, right? So if I put directly in front of me, and you see there's a reflection right there. So you know what you do? You move your light. No more. Now, if you can't move the light, that's where you can tell the subject to move their heads. So for example, here, if I move my head, it's gone. Now, this is what I do in portrait. Obviously, portraits is where I could control. But when you're shooting a wedding or when you're shooting something like an event, you have no control, then really there's no control. Because like in an event, things are happening really fast. If the reflection does not bother you very much, or if the person is not the main subject, then I suggest you leave it. Otherwise, if you can tell the subject, hey, can you just turn your head just slightly this way? Then you see, if the light is directly here, now like, it doesn't look good at all. Just put it right up. See, it's gone. Right? Just a matter of control. Okay.
Another question from Margaret. Actually, I was thinking of it as well. She's asking, what phone would you recommend actually for is more powerful for taking beautiful photos? Which phone would you recommend? Now there's going to be a fight between the Android and the iPhone people, but anyway.
Okay.
What would you recommend?
Can I say the best phone is the phone that you have in your hands?
Oh, okay.
The best one. I say this only because I made it very clear right at the beginning, that if you can master whatever I just told you, actually any phone can do a very good job. Try to work with your best of abilities, but I can always tell you that, of course if you have money, then honestly, if budget is not a problem, the latest 13 Pro Max is very, very nice. Okay, Android people, the Samsung S21 Ultra has got one of the best ones for the Samsung. The best one for Apple would be the 13 Pro Max. So if you really want to talk about best for phones, yeah.
Since we're on the phone topic, there's another one in iPhone. I think there's this question about iPhone as well. It's quite technical. 4, 3, and 16:9 square selections. How can we make use of these features for best photographic result?
Okay. Okay. Now, usually when we shoot, if you're talking about cameras, okay, I know handphones has their own ratio. This is called a ratio, aspect ratio. It's 4:3 or 16:9 or 16:9. Now, 16:9 is CinemaScope. So if you shoot with this, technically you're shooting for like cinema. 4:3 is like your old square TV, but not really fully square, right? If you ask me if I shoot with my Sony right now or my Canon right now, Canon gives me 4x5, 4x6. Honestly, it depends on what you want to show. If you are going for cinema scope, 16:9. If you are going for something that looks more like everyday, 4x3 or a 4x6 is fine. Frankly, it doesn't matter. You know why? Why? Because sometimes some people will just crop it in and then you lose the aspect ratio altogether. And also, it depends on your poster design. If your poster design, I don't think your poster would want a 16:9. 16:9 is too much. It's too wide. So if you are thinking about making your poster, I would not recommend 16:9. Okay, 4x3 is fine. A 16:9 is not. That is technically CinemaScope.
The poster that we are doing for the People of Action is A4 size, either vertical or horizontal. Oh yeah.
So A4 size is technically 4x6. Or about 4x6. 4x6 is better. Yeah. Even if you don't get 4x6, you do 4x3 is I think you can cheat a bit lah, 4x3. But 4x6 is the ratio that could fit a 4R. A4, sorry, A4. All right.
Okay.
Good. Keep your questions coming because I also want to know what is in your minds before I continue.
Yeah, one more question before we move on, Diane.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the question? Do you have a
Yasmin wants to know when you take shots, moving people, moments, how do you make the shakes and potential retake because of subjects may not be in the best of lighting positions, etc. Also, would you have lost moments when you are struggling with the technicalities of the phone?
Yes. Okay, here's what's happening. If you are in a place that's your lighting condition in the place is very nice, say is adequate lighting, then you don't have to worry so much about shakes. Now, when I say your phones is like your best, sometimes it has its own limitations, especially if your phone is a little older, especially when you have especially when your phone is older, especially when your subjects are not properly lit, then you will get the photos that shakes, that is blur, has motion blur. We don't call it shake, but it's actually motion blur. In circumstances like this, really it's a technical thing lah. That means it's either you get a better phone or you get a better camera for that. There's no way about it. There's no way to go around it. Or you move your people to a brighter spot. That will help better. You know why sports photographers, those who shoot at, say they shoot Usain Bolt when he takes his runs, those cameras are very, very expensive for a very good reason. It's because if you want to freeze that, unless you're running, unless the subject you're photographing runs as fast as Usain Bolt, then you buy those cameras lah. But honestly, some cameras are expensive because they can freeze it. It's a combination of lenses and the shutter speed. So if you find that you always find yourself in this problem, chances are you have hit the limitation of your device. Yeah. Can
we take one more question from Pauline? Okay, she's asking, what's the maximum output size of our mobile cameras can support?
Okay. Depends on the phone. I know that the Apple phones, if you shoot in RAW, your output size are actually quite big. But if you use an old Apple phone, chances are your output is only like 1 MB, is actually not enough. If you want to do big prints, say for example, if your photo is a winning shot for Rotary and it needs to go on a magazine and you shot with an iPhone 6, the photo may not be good lah. This is where it becomes technical. It's also megapixel dependent. So if you guys know that actually Xiaomi just came out with this like 11 Pro Max, I think, that I saw. they have a megapixel of 106 on a small little phone. Okay, now that if you shot at 106 megapixel, your output is very big. You definitely can go for prints. That's why I say it is highly dependent on the phone. You can actually see it when, say, you take a photo and then you email yourself that photo into your own Gmail account, and then you look at the MB sizes. If you have KB, if you receive the file and it's like KB in size, that means that photo is very, very tiny. The output is too small for print, for a big photo. If you take your photos and then you get like at least 4-5 MB out of your phone, that is actually excellent, like really good. A 4-5 MB could actually go for prints. But if you have anything below, is actually not great already. 2 MB is like, maybe you print a small one. But 4-5, 6 still okay. But I don't know if any phones could go 10 MB now, because on my Canon right now, I shoot 10 MBs raw. No, not raw. I get 10 MBs when I shoot, exported to JPEG. So that is like good enough for billboard. If I don't know how many phones can do 10 MBs now, I'm not really familiar. But yeah, if you can see it that way, you can check and you can check by sending yourself the photo and see how many MB is that. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes,
Pauline?
thank you, Diane. Thank you
All right.
very much. Thank you.
Okay. All right. It sounds like everybody has very more mobile phone centric questions. I will try my very best to cover, but what I'm doing right now is I'm really just teaching the very basic of composition. Like I said, if you can master this, then you can work with any cameras, right? And with whatever cameras you have, yes, in terms of image quality may not be great, but at least your photo looks nice in terms of angles, okay? In terms of composition and all that. Some very poor photos can be done well. Like for example, I think I showed you, there were a few photos that I've taken with just my phone. This is a phone photo. Both of these are phone photos. But what happened was, I don't think these are print quality photos. Honestly, I cannot print them. But I only applied the principles of such things. And then maybe I slap a filter on Instagram, and it's already good enough for Instagram. So that's how, if you're looking at, if you want to just maximize your phone, this is how you do it. Yeah. Okay, I'll just quickly move on to angles. Let me see. Okay. Okay, now angles are also a very interesting thing. Of course, as human, we are very used to, we're adults now, we're very used to seeing things at our own eye level, right? But I want to encourage you to look at things differently. Maybe you look at it from the left, or look at it from the right, or look at it from the top, or look at it from the bottom. What's here on the left is actually an old building in Seremban. All I did was I tried to align these lines properly, straight, and I took a shot like that. So this is like a very sharp thing over here. I thought this is an interesting angle to see a building this way, right? Now what's here is actually a couple that is at a gabun in a little farm. But what we did was we put the camera low, and we can see just right up like that. So it's a different perspective. We call this point of view. This was shot overhead, because this couple we pose them because we decided that, hey, I want to see how it looks like from the top, and actually it looks good for them, right? This was actually a long time ago, and I was like, I went to Chiang Mai, and we were helping this little village lady, and we were praying for her. So we all gathered around, we put the camera, this was taken by somebody else, but when we put the camera right above, that's where you can see things differently, right? Now, the thing about camera angles is quite interesting. If you photograph a child and if you take on a higher angle over to look down at the child, you make the child look a bit slightly more vulnerable, like they're helpless, they look cute. That's why you see why ladies like to do selfies. They do like this and then they look up. Why? Because this angle makes people look very cute. So that makes you look vulnerable, right? So that's why when you photograph people or when you photograph certain things, it's important to know what angle you're taking, what you want to show. If a person looks too vulnerable, if you shoot like this of a world leader, you should top down, you make the world leader look very weak. So that's not a good angle to take for a world leader, but for a child, it's okay, right? A lot of NGO photos are like that, like World Vision. I see a lot of World Vision photos. They took a photo of like the child looking up like that from the top. It's to make the child look very vulnerable, very weak, so that hopefully you all will help to provide the funds for the child, right? That's the purpose of the photo. But what if you photograph from the bottom up? Now, this photo, you saw this before, but when you photograph from the bottom up, you make this person look bigger, right? I remember a photo of Donald Trump that was taken by a Malaysian photographer. His name is Zung. But before Donald Trump was president, he took him down up, and that made his torso really big, his head very small. But that immediately made him look like a person who's smaller, looking down, looking up to a person of authority. That gives the person, the subject, power. So it is really very important how you know how you take your angles, because going up, going down essentially changes the photos, changes the look of the photo, right? So for this one, I shot it down up, and you can see she looks just powerful. She looks graceful. She has confidence. It's very empowering when you do that. But you also have to be very careful, because if a person who does not have a neck, or maybe has a little extra pound, if you do this, the person will look even bigger. The person may or may not appreciate it lah. So that's what I'm going to say. Also, you also photograph right up the nostrils. If that bothers you, then maybe this is not a good angle to take, right? Very calculated. You really have to do this very calculated. So this was just taking right from the top. It was an interesting angle, but this was a family photo that was done in the studio just a few weeks ago. So point of view gives you a perspective that is not common. We are very used to seeing straight like this where we are at our height. But what if you go above? What if you go below? And that is to give you the point of view, a bird's eye view, or you look at it from like from a child's perspective. That's what angle does. It can either empower or make somebody look vulnerable. Okay, see, we're at storytelling already, and we're already, okay, we're at 11 now. Okay, I'll try. Okay, everybody's fine now? Okay now?
Yep, I think it's okay. We've got a couple of questions, but I think you can move on. We will take it later on if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'll take it later on then. All
Okay.
right. All right, here, the storytelling bit. Now, when I was preparing this, honestly, I wasn't sure how to go about it. There is no actual right or wrong as to how to do it, but I can tell you from my years of experience as a wedding photographer, I want to tell you how I get the kind of photos I get in weddings, just through my experience. Okay. So let me show you. This is not me. This is actually Cheryl, the other duo for MOCO, and this is how she shoots a wedding. So basically, how you capture is sometimes you see, as you can see, we actually put the bride right here close to the window because it's brighter here, and the light coming from the window is softer. So that's what we do, right? We place them at the right place at the right time. We also have to be at the right place at the right time. Why? Because if you are not observant, you will not see what's happening. So here's one of the things I want to encourage all of you. Okay, before I show you this, okay. I want you to see how when you get into a space, when you are about to photograph something or you know an event is happening, it's very important that you go there a little bit earlier and walk around that space. We do that actually. It's to let you know, it's to also let your mind know that, okay, this is this space here that I'm gonna photograph. This space here has these things. Observe. As you walk around, don't just walk around, observe. Okay, it has these things. Where's the light coming from? All right, where can I stand? When can I not stand? Where is it hazardous to stand? Don't stand here. Oh, I should stand here. Oh, I should put my subject here. Be very aware of that. Because if you cannot be aware of that, then when the moment happens, right, if you're not ready, you just miss the shot completely. It's important to know where you are, right? Observe your space, because that's like your working space. At least that's how we do it, right? Whenever we arrive at the hall, we look, okay, we can stand there, we can stand there. Oh, I don't think we should stand there because we might fall off the stage, you know, something along those lines. Be very aware of your space. Okay. That's how you can be at the right place at the right time, right? Because you can like go. All right. So being at the right place at the right time means you are observant. Now, say you are in an event. I don't know how big events can go from here on, but potentially quite small. But being at the right place at the right time means you know where to be at the right time. It's not just being there, and, you know, it's not just like, oh, I'm here. Oh, happened right in front of me. Okay, I take. No. You literally must know where the action is. That's why you need to be very observant. For example, I was in an event where Marina Mahathir was there, and she's very low-key, you know. I didn't even know until I'm like, I saw her. Then what I did was you approach, but you don't, you have to always know that you don't want her to like suddenly notice you, then she smile at you. You're like, yeah, you want that, but at the same time, no. I want things that's a bit more natural. So I just kind of walk over. Don't draw too much attention on yourself and just take the shot. Be a fly on the wall, right? And that is exactly what I mean by being at the right place at the right time. In weddings, we must know what is happening usually. Like, for example, at this moment, we know the bride is coming out of the car. Be ready at the car. You know, at this moment, the bride's coming down the aisle. Be at the aisle. You know, the groom is going to cry. If you know the groom is going to cry, have your camera face the groom and wait for him to cry. That's how we do it. Because you must anticipate for it. You cannot go like, oh, he's crying already, then only you react. No. So sometimes we can kind of tell if, oh, the mom of the groom is gonna cry, then we will be on the lookout already. Always be ready that way. So I'm sure in your events, you know, oh, at this moment, this is gonna happen. At this moment, it's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna react. Be ready for that. Right? Be present. So that's the trick we always do. All right. Yeah, like this one here. If you're going to predict something is going to happen where it invokes certain emotion, wait for it to happen. Right. Now, how I take the shot on the right. Now, this event is not necessarily the most interesting event, because honestly, the UN anniversary that I photographed, yeah, you have like ambassadors and all that, but it's not like, oh, we've got plenty of shows, a lot of things going on. No, but how do you make things interesting is you observe what's going on. This lady here was one of the award winners, but she was being, at this point, she was being interviewed by the news, the news people, right, by the journalist. So what I did was, I'm not a journalist, right? So I don't need to, must take like straight on kind of photos, but I know she was gonna laugh. I just stand there, wait. The moment she starts laughing and she's had a hearty laugh here, I took the shot. And this is how you know you freeze the moment well, because this is right here. This right here is, I wait for it on. I waited for her to have a laugh. More photos like this obviously make you feel happier when you see it, because, you know, they have a laugh. So same goes for you when you take your photos, you guys, when you go over to your events or whatsoever. If you know a particular thing that somebody does is going to make a child laugh or smile, that's where you'll be ready for that, right? And that's how photos will show emotions, and that's how photos will evoke evoke emotions, basically. Now, combined with all the things I've just talked about, right? Angles, you go from top and down. If you go from top and you shoot down, you make somebody look a bit more vulnerable, a bit more weak. If you shoot from bottom up, you make a person look more powerful, look stronger, look bigger. Taking all that into consideration and ask for permission to roam freely. If you have been tasked to be a photographer in a certain event, I highly recommend that you already have your camera out right from the beginning. You know why? If you have your camera right out there in the beginning, people will know that you're just going to take photos anyway, so that they won't go like, they'll be very aware you suddenly whip out a big camera. Like for us, we use a camera that we use like DSLRs that are still very big. We haven't moved on to micro four thirds. But the thing is, right, if you are using handphone, you look even less, you draw even less attention to yourself. That's even better, so that people will not know that you're already taking photos, but you are actually taking photos. I love that, because that's the best thing about camera phones, is that I can look like I'm just holding my phone, but I'm actually taking a photo. But for us, if we take out a camera, sometimes in weddings, when we take out a camera, you can see somebody just like immediately post, which is annoying, because I don't want people to pose, right? I want to be a fly on the wall, but people immediately see a big camera whipped out right in front of my face, they will immediately just pose, you know? So if you have cameras, if you have got your phones, actually, you can go quite low key on that. And here's a tip for those of you who are shooting with phones, is that if you are not close enough, and if you don't want to go close, you can use your telephoto features. Now, what I mean by telephoto is not you pinch. So, you know, like some phones, the moment you pinch, you realize your photos just become very blur. That means those are not optical zooms. Those are actually like you cropping into the photo. That's why it's like so blur. Highly encourage that if you are the kind who bought the phones that has 3 lenses, use the telephoto lens, which is like a zoom lens, and don't pinch it. Just use the zoom to shoot, because that actually gives you very good quality photos. I'm sure some of you have like at least a 12 Max or 12 Pro, iPhone 12 Pro, or even a 22 or like a S22 Plus or something. You can do that. There is this function where you pick the one that has like the single tree, and that is a zoom feature. Okay, now this photo is actually of my grandmother. This is my grandma. My grandmother was very ill in July, and I took photos of my family during this time, because I know this is potentially the last few moments that we're going to have with my grandmother. This is my mom on the right here. Now, my parents, because during this time, they didn't care whether I was taking photos or not at that point. And because I had my camera with me all the time, that made me feel like a fly on the wall. And they didn't bother if I was taking photo. And that's how I could get photos this close, because they didn't care. I don't know how you could ever come to a point where you don't care, but if you want to practice, you start with your family. After a point, if you have family members who's like, yeah, why you take camera, why you take photo of me? After a while, they won't care anymore. You just have to persevere, right? And that's how you practice. That's how I did this for my family, because they didn't care, right? So basically, that's mostly what I wanted to say for this section before we move on to editing. This basically is basically combining all that I've told you, your composition, your ability to see light, your ability to compose and put your people at the right place at the right time, and you be observant and know what the moment is happening. You take that shot. That's how you can tell a story. Sometimes a story is not just told with one photo. Sometimes it's told with a few. But practice in a way where you could, in one photo, tell the story. Like, I just took out some photos that I took from like events, which is like, you see this one on the left here is basically just people are like actually working. And since you guys are talking about like Rotarians at work, right? Is that what it is?
Yes, people of action.
Yeah, people of action. So go for moments like this. Or if one of this lady here is a Rotarian and one person is like accepting gift, these two ladies didn't know I took the photo. But the point is, go for this kind of shots. Like even here on the right hand side here, it's something to do when it's something to look out for. Okay, that you can be a bit more. Don't have to be in their face. Just try to get the shot. Right? That's how you combine everything. Okay, I think I'm going to take a few questions before we move on to the editing one, because the editing one will be using my phone to show you how to do some edits, basic ones.
The first question is from P.E. Chun Munfok. He is asking, my opinion is to take photo with maximum megapixel the camera's phone allow, and later we can reduce the file size so that, it's an opinion. Okay, so Shireen, let's move to Shireen quickly. How to take a good video when you are holding the candle? If in dark place, then the face look horror, but when with light on your on you hardly can see the candle.
I see. All right. Don't hold the candle too low. Hold it higher. One of the ways is, okay. All right, I can imagine it. So you hold the candle, and if you put the candle directly below you, okay, imagine this is candle, very light one. Okay. If I put directly the candle right below me, then it looks really scary, right? But if I were to put the candle right here and I look down, if the light is emitting to my face, it's not so scary anymore, isn't it? It's about, it is also about how you move, because light may not be something you can control, but at least your face you can control, right? If you see, I put directly below me, it's scary, but I'm trying to emulate light here. I'm trying to emulate candle. Okay, if I put candle here, like very scary, but if I put candle here and I look down, it's not so scary anymore, is it? Yeah, this is not a very good example, but yeah. Similarly, if you do this, no lah, don't put too close. After all, candle is quite hot, right? You can't do this. So a bit further away, this is all right. Can try. You just gotta try.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, right. Let's move. Okay.
Yes. The question is when to use flash.
Okay. When you are indoors, I use flash when I'm indoors, but even when I use flash, I don't use it direct. I assume you're talking about using the phone, right? The phone flash. All right, I'm gonna assume you're using phones, not using camera. If you're using phone, I don't recommend flash at all. I don't, because your flash on your phone does not give you enough reach. For example, if you are in an event and the space is very dark, right? You want to photograph a group of people. Okay, in that circumstance, you can use a flash. But I can tell you, even that, the colors don't look good. Now, these days, a lot of phones, they are so good in their technology. They are low light photos. They look really good. They look the same as how our eyes look at it, actually. So I honestly don't think you should use a flash for your phone. But if you're using a camera and if you're indoors and you have the limitation of your lens being a slow lens, that means your aperture is not big enough, then you use a flash, but you don't use a direct flash, you bounce the flash. A bit technical, but If you are asking about camera, just text me directly and I'll tell you what I think, okay? All right. I see, oh, okay, let's see, you send a photo.
Yeah.
All right, let me see.
Wedding photo.
Oh, that is a beautiful photo.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a beautiful photo. I will not change anything about this photo. Awesome. Did you take this shot?
It's inside.
No, somebody took it.
It's inside.
I'm not aware of it because it's my favorite daughter.
Oh, this is an excellent photo
Thank you.
because there's so much emotions in it. Your wife, right, on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's reacting. You look at it. You see, I don't know you, but the moment I look at it, I go, oh, that's a powerful photo. So good job to the photographer. Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, I will resume.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's all for questions, right?
Yes, for now. Thank you. Can
Right.
move on.
Perfect. All right. Now the next thing we're gonna do is actually editing, but knowing how editing can take a while, and I will try my very best. Okay. Now I'm gonna log in on my phone. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Okay. I'm gonna bring my phone here and I'm gonna show you editing straight away from my phone. So, all right. Meanwhile, if you are wondering what's going on, what we're gonna do, I would like you to install this app. Okay, it's called Snapseed. If you haven't already downloaded it, it's available on both Apple App Store and Google Play. Yeah, I have to pick one. I have to pick an app, right, that is available on both platforms. So if you haven't downloaded it, download it. Meanwhile, I'm just going to set up. I'm gonna come online from my phone and show you how I edit from my phone. All right, just give me a sec. Okay. Bum, 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 bum.
Diane, this is a very good app.
Yeah,
Snapseed.
that's so. I'm sorry, who's speaking?
Pauline here.
Hey, Pauline. So yeah, a Snapseed is an excellent app. It's actually a very
Yes.
powerful app. The other app I like is Lightroom, but I think Lightroom is a bit more complicated to teach.
This is the best, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think you're more seasoned. That's why you know already. It may not be the smoothest experience, but let's do this, okay? All right. Let's open up your Snapseed app. So when you open up, this is how it looks like, right? Then you're like, oh, what on earth is this big plus sign? What do I do, right? Tap on it. Okay, when you tap on it, then you have all your photos right down here, right? So you pick the photo that you want to fix. So at this point, I am going to pick a photo to fix, which is a, let me have a quick look. There you go. All right. I've decided that I will fix this photo. It's just a landscape photo. It's pretty, but what do I do with this, right? Okay. I'm gonna, when you pick this one, you tap on use. So the moment you tap on use, you come to this. Can see, right? Everybody can see or not?
Yeah, we can see.
I see,
But not very clear.
All right. So now when you come to this, I'm gonna try to see if I can do reverse. And the thing about my phone is that it's a privacy screen, you see. So if I tilt to the side, you cannot see my phone anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try. So now, in this screen, if I look at my photo here, I think what's at the bottom here, I can't see. You see, do you notice how this photo is actually quite dark at the bottom?
Yeah.
I don't like it. So what I do, but I really like what's at the top here, which is the sunset. This was taken right from our studio during sunset. So I thought, oh, this at the bottom here is too dark. It's nice here. What do I do? So if you look at the bottom here, there is looks, tools, and export. 1, 2,
Yes.
3, right?
Yes.
You tap on the middle one that's called tools,
Okay.
and it will bring out this little drop-down menu.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things here. Then you'll be
Yes.
like, what do I do, right?
Tune, image, crop, rotate. Yeah, a lot.
There's a lot going on here. So what you can do usually, you see, if I can share screen, that's where I can show you the effects of it. So if I were to bring into image tune, right, tap image tune,
Tune image, eh?
Okay.
tune image,
Yeah.
you scroll up and down. That's where you can see what you are fixing.
Oh,
So
okay.
you see, if you scroll up and down, that's where you know you're fixing the brightness, whether you're fixing shadows, you're fixing highlights. Okay. So at this point, I think let's do for the sake of trying, which is try brightness. Okay, which is the first one. Release that. So now if you move your finger left or right, that's where it will become darker or brighter. So if I move it here, you see how my photo became?
Oh.
Yeah.
Brighter. Yeah.
Yes.
And then if I move it backwards, it's how my photo
Becomes
becomes
darker.
darker.
Yes.
So that's how you use it. Now, in the case of my photo, I could say, oh, actually, I want it brighter, but I don't want the top to be brighter because I want to keep the top of my photo dark.
Okay.
Right now, there are many ways to do this. So like, for example, I only showed you one, which is brightness, right? Then actually, if you scroll up and down, there's contrast, there's saturation, ambience, highlights, shadows, and warmth. If I were to show you all of it, actually, all of them are very useful one. Let's see. Okay.
So do we have to save now this
Not
one
yet.
and then again? Okay, not
Okay.
yet.
Not yet. Now, when you've done anything, you see there's at the bottom there is a tick. Do you see there's a tick on the
Yes.
right corner? If you click,
Yes.
if you tap on the tick, you come back to this with all the changes that you've made.
Okay.
Right? Now, if you want to
Yes.
do more, if you want to make more changes, you go to tools. You go to tools
Okay.
again. So under tools, you see crop, white balance, curves, so many, right? What's this? You know, remember I told you about how our eyes like to see straight lines, and if horizon lines are not straight, then you have this innate nature, like it creates too much tension that you just want to keep on adjusting it. So the other thing I recommend doing is called rotate. If you go to rotate, that's where you can adjust how you want your photo straighten or that way, right? Now, obviously, I don't need to straighten my photo because I took this photo with the grid. So I know it is straight. I like it that way.
Okay.
But one of the most powerful things I learned of Snapseed is I showed this to people before, actually. So here's the thing. If you go to tools, and if you say you go to, where is it? Selective. There's a little button called selective. Do you see that?
Yes.
Right? Tap on selective. Now,
Sorry, where is selective? Where is the selective?
Selective is back in tools. So if you go back to this, the end of it, you see there's one that's called looks, tools, and export. Do you see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Click on tools. Click on tools, and you look at selective. Selective is in the second row.
Oh, okay.
Found it?
Okay.
All right. Tap on selective. Now, selective basically means that you can select a certain part to edit.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, certain part only, yeah?
That's right. It will only fix a certain part. For example, if you look at my photo right here, I only want my the bottom bit to be brighter. I don't want any more brightness at the top, because if I move the brightness at the top, right, I'm going to lose the sunset, correct? So what I do, I want to maintain the sunset. I want to brighten the one at the bottom. I use selective. So if you tap on the part that you want to brighten, you tap on it, then you see something like a little button that says B, right? Now, B just means brightness. Don't do anything to it yet, but I want to show you where if you pinch around, you use your fingers and pinch around the B, that's where you can see where is it being brightened. Do you see it? Do you see like a red cast over the things that you have selected? I don't know how to show you here. It's a bit hard to show you. Okay, so let me try. Okay.
Yes, we can see, yes.
Now, this red part is the area that if you make any changes, is the area that is going to be affected. Anything that's not red will not be affected. So why don't you try on your own photo and you see where is it detecting? Because this app is actually very smart. It can kind of tell where you want to fix. If you want to brighten your scope, you just pinch a bit wider. If you want to narrow your scope, you just pinch smaller. Okay, try that first.
I don't see any red. It just shows me like a zoom with a plus sign. And okay, let me just go back again.
The B becomes a C.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you tap, it becomes a C.
Okay, don't tap it yet. You pinch. You know, like how you want to enlarge a photo, you pinch it and see.
Oh, okay, okay.
Don't tap it. Don't
Like-
tap it yet.
like
We're
zoom
gonna
out.
tap it later.
Like zoom out, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now I get it.
Yeah,
Yes.
now you see it, right?
Yes,
So now
yes,
with
yes.
that, right, it's actually an area that you have selected to brighten. Or B means brighten. So if you move your finger, one finger, you move it left or right, that's where you can see it being brightened.
Yes.
Do you see it now, guys?
Yes. So if you move to the right, it becomes brighter. To the left, it becomes a bit
Yes.
darker. Right?
That's right.
Right.
So do you see the area that you specifically selected getting brighter and now your
Yeah.
photo looks better?
Yes.
This is a tool that a lot of people did not know they have.
But if you keep pressing, then it switches to S. The B becomes S.
Okay.
do I
If
avoid
you tap
that?
some more, if it becomes S, means it's saturation or structure. If you
Okay.
change, so you remember just now I told you that you can slide up or down. You
Yes.
see exactly how I'm doing right now, sliding up or down, sliding up or down.
Yes.
Right? Now, if you slide up one more, you will reach something called contrast. Contrast just means that if you adjust plus, means anything that is bright will become brighter, anything that is dark will become darker.
Okay.
Okay, try it and see whether you can move to the left and to the right and see whether you like the colors or not, like that. Or if you don't like it, then you move backwards to see whether you like it or not. That's
Okay.
basically the thing for you to try, right? When you're satisfied, that's where you can just scroll down one more and then you can see whether you prefer saturation or structure. Okay. Can I move on to saturation?
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone okay to move?
And everybody can follow or not? Can follow or not? I remember. Can right?
Can.
Can
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So I can tell you what saturation is. Saturation is saturation. Okay. Saturation basically means that if you pull the bar to the right, if you increase saturation, means the colors will become more vibrant. The colors will become stronger. Some people will push this too much and then it will look very weird. Now, why don't you try? If you push this too much, see whether what you get. You push it to the extreme to see. And then you're like, oh my gosh, looks so horrible. Because you have to use this with caution on. You have to be very careful with saturation because sometimes if you push it too much, people's face tones will change. For example, we are Asians, right? So if you're Asian, if you push saturation too much, we will look too orange. I don't think, especially if you have darker skin tones, my goodness, you're gonna look dark, man, with saturation. So you have to be very careful with saturation. Well, so is with brightness and contrast and all. Which is why I want to introduce you to this app because this app is so powerful in terms of the flexibility of it.
Diane,
Hey.
once I zoom on that, once I choose that area, right, that I want to for the brightness, and then when I zoom out to see the whole picture, how do I make sure I lock that area? I mean, like I just save, is it? I click on the tick sign.
Yeah, that's it. You click on the
Okay.
tick sign. If you click on the tick sign, that's exactly you see the thing that you've already worked on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, say you are done with the photo and you're like, oh, I actually quite like how this looks like, right? There is this third thing here at the bottom called export. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you tap on export, there's so many options. On my iPhone, I can see save. I can see save a copy, and I can see export. Okay. Usually, I would export. When I export the photo, it means that when I export this photo with all these changes, I cannot come back and make these changes anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
What
Okay,
if you-
Christopher, what is structure? Structure is, if I'm not wrong, let me check. Structure, if I'm not wrong, structure basically would change your, let me see, your sharpness. Yes. Your structure is basically the sharpness of it. Although it's not really sharpness, but if you fix your, you try and see, if you push your structure onto the right, and the positive, that's why you see things looks a bit sharper, but it can look uncomfortably sharp if you push it a little bit more. If you bring your structure down to negative, that's why you see some things don't look too right already. So it depends on your photo. I usually don't touch structure unless it's absolutely needed.
That's fine. Thank you, Diane.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Now, okay, let me explain what is save and what is save a copy and what's export. Save is basically you save this with the changes that you've just made on the photo, and you can come back again to make changes. That's basically save. Okay. Save a copy means you save and then you have an extra copy that have all these changes that you can come back to and make changes in the future. That's save a copy. That's like your save as, you know.
Yeah.
Export is you straight away export the file out and you cannot go back and change anymore. This is like your PDF. When you go to your Word document, you create your Word document already, and then you export as PDF, means you cannot go back and change anymore unless you save a Word document. That's basically it. So
Jennifer is asking, sorry.
Oh, yes.
Jennifer has a question. She's saying sometimes after editing, the final photo looks grainy when zoomed in.
Yes, because our phone cameras do not use, because our phone cameras are not using RAW unless you specifically shoot in RAW. This means that when you fix your photos too much, it will break down your photo. This tool is so powerful that when the moment it manipulates it, there are some things that it cannot be done. It will start to break your photos down. So that's why I say that's why this is the part that I want you to be very aware of, because if you push your editing too much on the phone, that's why you see these things breaking down. You have to be very aware of that. When it is too grainy, okay, depending on your thought of art, some people love photos grainy. It's a thing. They want to emulate film. How film was last time is that if you buy film at a very high ASA, right, the film has a grain that looks just like art, basically like art. There are people who these days, when they take their photos, they go and add grain because it has that feel of like the old school kind of art. If you are that kind, go ahead, add grain. If you are the kind who's like, no, I want everything cantik, smooth one, because I'm like, my ISO is very good, shutter is very high, then don't push it. So it depends on your taste in art. Okay. Do
Naveen is
you,
asked. Okay.
yes, do you advise taking photo, zoom nearer, or better keep original, edit later? Okay. All right. I would recommend that you get it right at the photo. Means if you have to zoom the photo when you take the photo, use your legs to zoom. So means you go closer. Really one. Because if you zoom, the moment you take the photo and then you zoom or you crop in, you are actually losing megapixels. You're losing a lot of details. So as original, that's why photographers, even for me, I strive to get my photo right at the click. The moment I click, I look at it, yep, I got it right. Then at least when I bring it to Photoshop to edit, I don't have to edit so much. So it's very important that you get it right. If you can, get it right. If you think that, yeah, I took this photo, but it's not close enough, go closer. Just use your legs and zoom.
Yeah.
Yes.
What if, when we save those photos and then we send it to a WhatsApp group and then we share via WhatsApp. And I think even Christopher has a question somehow similar. He says, does it help that after editing, we do a screenshot of the final picture and it's actually more pixel than the pure edited picture?
No, usually it's not. Is it better? Do you find that it's more megapixels? I don't think so, actually. Usually,
actually, it tends to be. I mean, I've tried a few times that, yeah, after you have edited, normally you wrote the original pixel, but then you do a screenshot, then it becomes a new picture, which is better than the edited picture. Try it next time.
Okay, that's a good thought. Interesting. I've never done it before because always when you kind of do a screenshot, it doesn't work very well for me. But
yeah.
But interesting. Maybe your phone does it better.
Samsung does it pretty decently.
Yeah, that's why Samsung, in that sense, still somewhat better than the Apple.
Yeah.
Only some things Apple do better.
Yeah, everyone, time's up. But I think, Diane,
Yes.
if anything you want to recap, quickly.
I just want to say that Rome is not built in one day. So is your photography skills. It's a lot of it is practice. And I want to encourage all of you to go out and practice because it's so important. You get so used to your phone and make full use of it because you find it very well and you find that, hey, actually with all these tools that I've given them a little bit of editing, then I realized, hey, I one up already. Because that's the point. You should get one up every day. Just get 1% up every day. Try different things every day. Then you realize, hey, actually you get better, you get better, you get better. There's a lot of patience needed in this. And it's not something that you learn immediately, So
Absolutely.
have patience and try every day, practice.
Absolutely. Very true and brilliantly put, Diane. Rome is not built in one day. Of course, practice and practice and practice. Thank you all for your questions. I would like to invite our district Public Image Chair, Zed Zariman, to give a vote of thanks to our guest speaker this morning and to do the closing. Zed, take it away.
Thank you, Mahad, and thank you, Diane. It was indeed an honor to have you, and it is a very informative session. This is a session or a training event that we would like to take knowledge from and also prepare ourselves for the People of Action poster competition. What you have shared with us today definitely gives us new insights, new tips and tricks on how to use just our mobile phones, to look for lighting, make sure that the picture is right, and the angling, just to summarize it, and also finally the use of Snapseed in doing the editing. So it is my wish and hope that members from both districts, 3300 and 3310, can take away this knowledge and also the tips that Diane has shared to come up with better People of Action posters. So just reminded also for all clubs, do participate in this competition, poster competition, ending on the 31st of December, 31st of December. And also we'll be also having a training on videography which the competition, the video competition will end in January 2022. So just to add also that we will also have another session on Canva, the use of Canva. Yeah, when you do your posters for the poster competition, you will have an apps that you can use. One of them is Canva. Some of you use Photoshop. Some of you use other apps, but the one that we'll be training on from the public image side and also district training team is on the use of Canva to build up your images and posters. So do tune in and register for the next series, which is happening in another 2 weeks. Details will be given out on the training and on the trainer that is going to train us on this particular subject. Sign up for all 7 trainings and you will be a certified skilled Rotarian, I can say. Yeah. So once again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, members from District 3310, and also members from our own District 3300. And thank you again, Diane.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Diane.
much. I hope you all learned
Thank
something.
you.
Oh,
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
did.
Learned a lot.
Sorry about the share screen bit. It was a bit odd.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It happens sometimes. You know, when
Thanks, Diane, for the awesome session. Thanks, PI Chair Z. Also, thanks, team. Wonderful. Thanks.
I'm still here if you have questions. I'm open unless that you want to leave already.
no, just to go ahead. I'll open the members to
Yeah. If you guys, I'm just gonna stay for about 10 minutes. If you guys still have questions, go ahead.
Actually, I have a question. You
Can
know,
I
I wanted to ask. Go ahead.
Who goes first? Can I go first?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
All right. I always have problems taking photograph in lightings like red color, green color, and they come out really like, Halloween or some spooky movie. How do I fix that so that it actually looks very nice in real, but when the photos come out, it's like you're in a haunted house. How do I get that fixed?
Okay, you know how? You edit it into black and white.
Okay, that was
This is
one of the things
okay.
I did.
I tell you, this is a trick that we do as photographers. Sometimes when we shoot weddings, especially Chinese weddings, you have the tent outside. The tent usually is red. And then when the couples would come in or the gate crashing games that's happening outside, that everything is red, you know what we do? We just change everything to black and white. It looks good. So
Quick
you
fix.
can try that. Who knows? Your photos just turn out, ooh, it looks suddenly look extra because black and white.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome. More questions, please.
Yeah, Diane, early on you said that the first thing is to know the purpose of the photo, right? So if you're going to a wedding or to a community service project, know that that's what you mean, right? And then from there, you know exactly what kind of photos to look for. Is it the emotion behind it?
Okay, I guess when I say purpose, right, is to know that what you want the photos to achieve. What do you want to show? For example, if you want your photos to achieve change, then that's where you shoot accordingly. You know, like there are photos that could change history. Let me figure out. You know, the photos from D-Day. I'm sure you all have seen those photos from D-Day. It has changed how people look at war. And if you walk into a situation and you have the higher purpose, I feel it translates into your art. At least that's how I see it. Because as a photographer, sometimes when I shoot families, I have to know these photos for families will tend to become family heirlooms.
Right.
They will become something that's very important for the family, and hence you have to do it well. So that changes my perspective for purpose.
Right. That makes sense.
Yes, you approach it with a lot more respect. So that's how you should deal with this. Although yes, it's so easy, you know, your camera, you can just take. But if you have purpose, then you approach it very differently.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, Diane, I have a question. Usually we are going to do a shooting of this holding candle. That's why I asked you about the candle. Will you suggest that we take that picture in black and white or color, and then should we take it in the dark area or should we take it in the bright area? Because when it goes to like outdoor, then you won't be able to see the so-called the candle light, right? But if you take it indoor, as you say just now, you have taught us, like, you know, to put the candle nearer to the face, like look down. But basically, I think the purpose of taking this picture is for prayer. So is it okay to take it in black and white? Because normally sometimes people are very sensitive with black and white, because it's like a death prayer, you know. Like this prayer is like it's like occasion prayer, like a ceremony prayer. So can we take it in black and white or color? What do you think?
I think you should take it in color first. Now, the treatment for black and white only happens if it's better in black and white, or you find that it's just colors are too distracting. So here I would recommend this, that, okay, I want to ask you also, how are you shooting? Are you shooting with your phone or are you shooting with a camera?
We would, if we can get a good camera, but nobody is holding camera nowadays, as you know. Like most probably, like you say, we have this, if we have an iPhone 13, you know, will it play good shooting on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can try. Honestly speaking, I think you can try. You know, like, I can't give you actual scenarios now because I'm not there. Sometimes, even for us as professionals, that's why we turn up to a site early, because we try to take a photo on our phones to see, do I like a certain setting? So that's where we change according to the setting of the place. It's important that you try first, because I can't tell you immediately, oh, the iPhone 13 will do a better job. It's very hard to say that, unless you look at it, then you're like, I think I want it darker. Do you know your iPhones can change your exposure? You do know that, right?
I don't really good in
Don't know
those
how to use
gadgets.
it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's okay. You know what you can do? You can take first, as much as you can, you try. Whoever who's taking try, and then maybe you can try to see if you can edit. Because when you are taking the photo, okay, let me quickly show you this, okay? Let me show you this. Let me see. Okay. If you see my camera right now, my phone, right? If I were to tap on this, then you see a little square, right? Now, when you see this little square,
Yeah.
if you move up and down, that's where it changes the exposure. Do you see that? Do you have a iPhone with you right now?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, if you try, you open up the phone, the camera feature, you point it somewhere, and then you slide up and down the little icon that is like a sun. That's why you see the exposure change.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
iPhone only, is it? iPhone only.
I'm actually more familiar with the iPhone. I don't really know how the Android one works. But
What do you think about taking picture with this candle? The background should be plain, or can it have some like some kind of, like, you know, background? Whether it brings the picture better or better with a plain background?
You are planning to do like a prayer thing, right? Is it just
Yeah.
one candle?
No. It will be like 20 of us, like maybe 20 of us holding a candle, something like that, or 15 of us holding a candle.
You know, when you are only, if say your candle is just going to be candle, then I would suggest everything at the back is dark lah. It makes more sense lah that you, it makes more, it makes more sense that behind is dark lah. I feel lah. I don't think you should have some sort of background too much.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah. Then try.
Yeah, I usually text you personally to ask some personal thing. Yeah, I hope that you can reply. Yeah, before.
Oh, hey, did you send me via WhatsApp or?
No, in the chat box. Yeah, in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I haven't got your WhatsApp. You can share now, then we'll get your number.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I actually did share my phone already number, but let me see. There you go. Shireen, where are you? Are you in KL?
No, I'm in Bangladesh usually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I stay here. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
What an honor to teach an international group today. I just realized you guys are international. So I'm like, whoa.
Thank you so much, Diane. We learned a lot today.
Okay.
we love taking picture. Yeah, we all love taking picture. Rotarians love taking picture.
That is so good to hear. That's so good to hear. All right. I'll just be here just for a little longer. If anybody has more questions, I just left my number there as well.
Listen, Diane, the disable share screen is an account setting.
It's an account setting.
Will you be using it again next time?
This is not my account.
Yeah, it's the district account.
Ah.
It's our setting, the setting so that you don't accidentally share any your whole screen. Only the app that you want or the window that you want.
No wonder. Oh, so sad.
But you're gonna use it again. Then the next time you can set it on before you start.
The next time I'm not teaching. The next round is another person already. So maybe you have to think. Maybe you have to ask the other person.
If they want to, you can let me know. Because
Yeah,
you have to enable that.
Yeah, we'll inform you, Dr. D.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry about that just now. We should have tried because I assume it can work because I've done this course twice, and this is the third time I'm doing something like this, and the third time didn't work. So I thought third time's the charm, but third time didn't work. So
It's fine, Diane. Actually, even guiding us through everybody checking one by one was even good because everyone like physically look at their screen, on their phone and go and it's fine, that's fine. But Diane, do you know any other good video editing? I know it's out of topic, but video editing.
Video
apps.
editing app, KineMaster, KineMaster. KineMaster. KineMaster.
Okay, so
let me type in the chat group.
Okay.
It's called KineMaster. Yes, Angela, you got it right. KineMaster. Now, KineMaster is very nice to use and it's free. But the problem is when you use KineMaster and you export it, it has the watermark lah. If you didn't buy the premium version. If you buy the premium one, there's no watermark.
Okay.
This is a very, very, very good app actually. Just that it has a watermark, but if you don't mind it, it's okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And one more thing, right? The photos you took, all brilliant, beautiful photos, were they all taken with camera or some of them were taken with
Some were phone, some were phone, some were cameras. It's like some of the more professionally taken photos, like of my clients, they are taken by a camera. But that's why today, what I wanted to teach, right, is really the basics of storytelling. That's the point of it. But when it comes to technical, there is no denying. There's no denying that actually the camera is still better one. There is still no denying. Even though, yes, your phones can do the job, but if you really want to be very professional about it, it is the camera that does a better job.
Hi, Diane, this is Josephine. I just want to ask you, if supposing the person that you're taking a picture is taller than you and you're shorter, then how do you balance it out?
Okay. Do you need to photograph them as a full body? Do you need to?
Yes, depends. Sometimes it's full body, sometimes it's half. So and then sometimes the person, and you're shorter than that person, meaning, so how?
If I'm in the studio, which I usually do, that I would actually stand on a step ladder to shoot. I'm actually quite short. I'm 155 cm only. So what I do is, if a client is taller, like usually men, it's like they are like 180 cm. So what I do is I literally stand on the step ladder. Otherwise, I would actually tell the guy, like we've done this for the couples. We have actually tell the man to stand with his legs apart. Then he become lower already.
Oh, okay.
Then you only do half body. You can't do full body with that.
But if you're outside, so sometimes like my sister is taller than me, so I become like shorty, So it's like, how do you, like in the garden or something like that?
Yeah, so you tell the person to stand with the legs apart to match you, or tell her to sit and you stand on.
Okay, can. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Sometimes when we photograph like Caucasian couple, then usually we're like shorter than the Caucasian couple. So what do we do, right? So usually we stand very far away and we get the shot done, or we actually stand on a higher ground. You just have to, especially when you shoot wedding, you just have to look for places to stand. That's why you must know your environment.
Diane, quick question, Diane. How do you take a picture if someone is short and you want to make them seem taller than they are? What is the best angle with your take using your phone?
Go lower.
Lower and
Go
then
lower.
and then
Lower.
angle.
Correct. Lower.
Yes.
And you go lower and tilt up just a little bit. You try, because some people, they go low, then they go too low, then it doesn't look good. So you must see. But the point is to make somebody taller is to go lower. Yeah. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. I guess that would be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much,
Diane. Thank you.
Diane, thank you so
Nice
much.
having you.
I left my personal number. I left my personal number as well. So guys can text me. It's not a problem. If you have any questions at all. Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure they will. Thank you so much, Diane. Thank you all. I guess we will call it a day. We'll wrap up and enjoy the rest of your Saturday, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so nice to meet all of you.